Hello everybody, it's Kara from Wild Book Garden, and today I'm here with the silliest reading vlog theme that I think you'll ever see. So basically I got this idea because I was talking about a book that I was really excited about called Spell Sweeper by Lee Edward Fody in one of my anticipated releases videos. And the main character is named Kara, and I mentioned in that video that I would be lying if I said that that wasn't part of why I was excited. Like the premise sounded great, and that was like primarily what I was interested in. But when you have a name that is very uncommon, it is very exciting to see your name in a book, no matter how old you are, in my opinion. So I mentioned that, and I happened to find another book that had come out, I think, somewhat recently, where the main character was named Kara, and it was very exciting. And I was like, what if I just read books that have a main character that shares my name to celebrate that, like, very rare thing? I don't know. I thought it might be a fun idea, and I also thought it would be fun to, after I, like, reviewed the book, I could, like, rank the Kara character on a scale of 1 to 10 and how much I enjoyed them and how well I think they lived up to my name. I'm ridiculous, and I thought, like, when would I get another opportunity to do something like this? Because I'm telling you, I do not find my name in books very often, like in any media, especially that spells it and pronounces it the same way I do. I want to do a few more reading vlogs with like interesting themes, and I thought this would be a fun theme, even if it is silly. And yeah, maybe some of you who have an uncommon name will understand the excitement here. Although I have been told that in other countries that my name is not that rare, so that's, I guess, keep that in mind, but I personally don't come across it very often in real life or in fiction. So I'm just gonna go over what the books are. I'm not gonna summarize them. I'm gonna save that for when I actually like read the books. But I have one of our Past Classics picks, which is Olivia by Dorothy Strachey. I have kind of the inspiration for this video, which is the one I'm actually currently reading, and that is Spell Sweeper by Lee Edward Fody. You can tell that I'm filming this intro clip after I have already started some of these books. I have Into the Land of the Unicorns by Bruce Koval. This is the first book in a series, and you guessed it, the main character is named Kara. And this was one that once I decided to do this project, I like remembered, oh yeah, I think this series was one that I was excited about, and then I found out the main character shared my name and I was extra excited. So that's one. This is the book that I found out about soon after the anticipated releases, where the main character is named Kara, and that is Wish, which is book 1 in the Otherworld series by Victoria Harris. And then finally, this is like the silliest part of this vlog, because I think I've talked about this in a video before maybe, but one of the only times before this reading vlog that I had ever come across a character who shared my name in a book was in the Stravaganza series by Mary Hoffman, and it was a horse. And it wasn't even like an important horse character, it was like random side character riding their horse whose name was Kara. And like it was so rare that I found anybody with my name that I was still excited about it. So in honor of that, I thought it would be fun to reread a couple of the books in the Stravaganza series. I don't think these are the ones that feature Kara the horse, but I just thought that would be a fun thing to add, and I was planning to reread some of these books this year anyway, so I thought this would be perfect. Hey everybody, so here for my first check-in. I'm reading Olivia by Dorothy Strachey. This is our Past Classics pick for November, but we're actually going to be having the discussion right at the beginning of December, and I think I'm almost sure by the time this video is going up, that has already happened, so I will link that in the description box. But yeah, so this is a really short, I think, novella. It's like, my edition is like barely over 100 pages. Our main character is Olivia, and she is reflecting on this like relationship she had when she went to a girls' school. When is this set? Let's see, she went to a Parisian finishing school when she's 16. This book was originally published in 1949, so I assume that's kind of when it was set. And yeah, she's writing about kind of her adolescence and like her like awakening and all of that. And the person in question is the person that she has some kind of romantic feelings for, relationship with, is one of the like headmistresses of the school, which I'm not super happy about. We'll see how this turns out. I don't know how reciprocated it's going to be. I'm like almost exactly, I think about exactly halfway through this right now. And yeah, like the teacher-student thing is one of the biggest hangups for me right now. That's something I have a very hard time moving past in stories. Like I just think that power dynamic is impossible to overlook in my, like for me at least. Like I just have a hard time overlooking that power imbalance, so we will see how that goes. But as for the Kara of the book, which is why it's in this vlog, she is the other headmistress. So she's an important character, but she's not like the main character or the main character's like love interest. So there's Mademoiselle Julie, who is the one that Olivia is in love with, and Mademoiselle Kara. I'm sure there's a French way to say her name, but I'm saying it the way I say it. So far, Mademoiselle Kara is definitely a significant presence in the book. She's obviously not like the main character, but she definitely, like her and Julie's relationship and dynamic is definitely an important part of the book, and especially how that dynamic is affected by other people, our main character included, but also other characters. And as far as my current thoughts on this one, it's written beautifully. I think some of the introspection is really interesting. This is definitely a very, very introspective book, so if you want plot, do not pick this up. But I do think it's an interesting character study. I think some of the lines are beautiful. I think some of the ideas about art and youth are really interesting. My biggest hangups right now is I'm not super invested. Like I'm not having an unpleasant time reading this by any means. I think if this were longer, I'd be more irritated by some of this, by some of the, you know, very, very flowery descriptions and everything, and the very minimal nature of not just the story, like not just the plot, because I'm not especially plot focused as a reader. I'm definitely more character focused, but even like minimal characterization in a way. I don't really know how to explain it, because obviously we spend a lot of time in the main character's head, and she's very self-reflective as she's telling this story, so I feel like we should know her really well, and I just don't feel like I do. Or maybe it's that I know her but she's not written about in a way I find engaging. I don't know. I'll need time to like put my thoughts together on her, and I am only halfway through the story, so it's possible that I could change my mind. And then, as I said, the other big hang up I have right now is the central romantic relationship. I could see that being done in a way that I end up being more okay with, like if it's shown as not a good thing, or if it's like a one-sided crush kind of thing. So we will see. I will try to reserve judgment on that aspect. So I'm liking it, but not loving it. I do think it's going to be a really interesting one to discuss, though, as all of our books are. I feel like that's a nice thing about reading things for read-alongs or book clubs, is even if you're not the biggest fan of the book, usually you have a lot of opinions about it, which is fun to discuss. So anyway, I feel like this was a very long update for such a short book, but I will check in again. I'll probably just check in when I finish this. I don't know. Maybe I'll do one in between. I have some like work things I need to do today, and I also would like to just relax and probably play some Sims. I've gotten back into that again, which is, you know, perhaps not the best thing when you're very busy, but I can definitely anticipate finishing this one today if I was gonna say if I buckle down, but really if I just like set aside a little time for it, because this does read very quickly. I will see you soon. Soon for you, maybe not soon for me. Okay, hi everyone, I'm back. Apologies for the less attractive lighting, and also for the fact that I'm wearing my robe because I'm freezing. Anyway, I just finished Olivia. I'll have to kind of think about it a little bit more to really put together exactly what worked for me and what didn't, but I feel like I'm about at a 3 stars for this one. The writing is beautiful. I think there's a lot of interesting ideas here. I think the exploration of like first love and the importance of beauty and love and like the pursuit of those things, I think all of that is really interesting. I was let down by the characters though, and this is a very short novella or story. It's like I said, my edition is 107 pages. But for such an introspective story, I feel like I didn't know a lot about the main character, Olivia, or maybe that I just wasn't attached to her. And I also feel like Mademoiselle Julie, I don't feel like we got to know her super well either. And I don't know if maybe we weren't supposed to, like maybe we're supposed to see her as like this vision, you know, on a pedestal, because that's kind of how Olivia sees her for a lot of the story, possibly all of the story. So maybe that's like a function of the story that Dorothy Strachey was telling, but it just really didn't do a lot for me. I didn't dislike this though. Like I think if it had been longer, I would have been a lot more irritated at like the lack of characterization and the writing style. Like in a small dose, I liked the writing. In a larger dose, I might not have. There were some great quotes though that I marked that I'm gonna, you know, be excited to talk about during the show. And then also I feel like the second half of the book, even though more plot things happened, I didn't like the way things played out. It's kind of one of those stories where I finish it and I'm like, what was the point of that? Like, what were we supposed to get from that? So yeah, not a favorite, but I'm glad I read it. I also believe that Dorothy Strachey is herself a queer woman, so it's nice to read a classic about a female-female romance that is own voices, as far as I remember. So that was also cool. I definitely liked it better than The Children's Hour by Lillian Hellman, I think is the playwright, which was a sapphic classic that we read, was that in February maybe? January or February? And we all had pretty significant issues with that. Although, despite the fact that The Children's Hour was very problematic in a lot of ways, and the fact that I gave this book, Olivia, a higher rating, there are some things that I still liked better about The Children's Hour. I don't know. Like, they both, I have mixed feelings about both of them for very different reasons, and I do appreciate that Olivia did not do the really harmful tropes that The Children's Hour did, although it did do its own harmful thing, which is I hate that so much of this story is about a romantic relationship between a 16-year-old girl and a grown woman, who's like one of her teachers, like a headmistress of the school. And I don't ultimately like the way that all played out and how it was shown. I obviously don't want to give away specifics about what happens, but suffice to say that I don't think that was explored in a way that I ultimately liked or thought was okay. So yeah, I didn't like that aspect either. As I said, 3 stars. And as for rating the Kara character in this book, I'm going to use a 1 to 10 scale. I don't know why that's my default when I talk about books on a 5-star scale, but whatever. Yeah, so on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give Mademoiselle Kara probably like a solid 5. Like, I'm pretty neutral about her. I didn't like her or dislike her, but I also have some sympathy for her. A lot of people really, like, characters in the book, like, really didn't like her, and I felt kind of bad for her. Also, she gets points for not being a pedophile, because that's where the bar is in this book. Yeah, so not a great Kara, but okay. So yeah, I will check in with you when I start the next book. I don't know when that will be or what it will be, because I'm still waiting for a couple that I ordered to come in. So I will talk to you then. Okay, so the next book that I ended up picking up is Spellsweeper by Lee Edward Fody. I'm about halfway through this one, maybe a little over halfway. I'm using a very fun Mulan bookmark, in case you were wondering. Yeah, so this book, obviously our main character is named Kara, and she goes to, this is like a contemporary fantasy, she goes to a magical academy that is secret from the like non-magical humans, but Kara is not in the like elite wizard program. She is what is known as a MOP, which stands for Magical Occurrence Purger. So basically they are magical custodians or janitors, and as with our real world, people who are in cleaning services are not treated very well. They're looked down on, and people, like, Kara is really unhappy that she has, that she's not able to learn all of the fun magical things that she wants to. And even though she does have some magical ability, she's very frustrated that she doesn't have more, and also that she's not even allowed to really train what magic she does have. And then, as the synopsis tells us, there's this character, Harley Wu, who is Kara's arch nemesis, or she would be if she knew Kara existed. She's basically like the, what do you call it? Like, she's basically like the golden child of like the magical school. Everybody loves her and is obsessed with her. They think she's gonna be like the chosen one. And she's like super fancy magical person. She has a lot of magical ability. And then Kara notices that there are some suspicious things happening around Harley, like weird magical occurrences that Kara has to try and clean up, but they don't look quite right. Like, she thinks that there is something even worse going on. This isn't like the normal like magical gunk that she has to clean up, because I should have mentioned this at the beginning, but the reason they have these mops is because magic generates like magic dust, like residue, as like a byproduct, and that has to be cleaned up very quickly and very professionally, or it can cause a lot of damage, and it can like attract monsters and like go feral. Basically, they call it going feral. So it's a really important job, although of course everybody who doesn't have this job thinks that it doesn't matter. So anyway, Kara starts noticing that these like weird magical occurrences are happening around Harley, and she's trying to tell people that there's something going on, but of course nobody wants to believe her because everybody loves Harley. Yeah, so like I said, I am halfway through the book. I am liking it. I think Kara is an interesting main character. I think the magical setting is fun. Some of the references to fantasy books are fun too. There are a few places where I think it goes a little overboard for my taste, but everybody's opinion on that is going to vary. And I think some of the supporting characters are interesting as well. I will say I hate Kara's sister, her older sister. And I think we're very clearly setting up for something where we find out why she's behaving this way, because we get flashbacks of her and Kara having a really wonderful, loving relationship. And in the present day, her sister is awful to her. And I really hate it. So like that is not, like, I'm not enjoying that aspect. Also the fact that Kara is getting like really bullied at school. Like I don't like bullying plot lines in general. But especially on top of the way her sister is treating her, I just like, I want her to have some people who are nice to her. Like she does have a couple friends, but it's just a lot. And specifically with her sister, I'm just like really upset with her. And I think it's gonna take a pretty dramatic reveal for me to feel like her treatment of Kara is like justified, or not even justified, but like just makes sense and you can understand why she's doing it. I'm sure we're gonna find out some reason why it's happening, but I don't like it. Also, I am realizing that it is going to be very, very, very weird to continuously be saying my own name, like in the third person, you know, when I'm talking about someone else. So that was something I wondered about with this vlog, and it's happening. Anyway, so that's kind of where we are in the story. I'm trying to think of anything else that's going on that I can talk about. Oh, one thing I will say is the cover artist, let's see, Maike Plinske, I think is how you say that, did a great job, because everybody looks like they're supposed to, and not only is this like a great cover, but it's accurate to things described in the book, which I feel like doesn't often happen. I'm gonna try and finish this book tonight, actually, so I will probably just check in when I'm done. Yeah, I did some like filming today. I'll try and get some footage if I do anything like fun and cozy. I've been getting very into candles lately as like a way to kind of calm myself down at the end of the day, so maybe I'll try and take some footage of that. I will of course get some clips of my kitties being adorable. So yeah, you have that to look forward to as well, in addition to this very silly reading vlog theme. So I will see you guys in my next check-in, which will hopefully be after I finish Spellsweeper. Hello everybody, so time for a very late check-in. It's actually been quite a while since I finished Spellsweeper. I'll be honest, things are not going great right now. I keep thinking of that book title that's like, things have gotten worse since we last spoke. Just a lot of stress right now. So I've just been, I don't know, I've just not been feeling like doing an update really. But I'm gonna do that today. There are a couple of things that are going a little better. So I'm feeling better. Anyway, so wrapping up Spellsweeper by Lee Edward Fody. I was a little disappointed in this. I didn't end up liking the way the plot went. Like, not that it was bad, it's just something that I personally didn't find interesting as a story, but I think a lot of other people would. I wanted more from certain character elements. Like, there are some things I think could have been more interesting than they were, or more complex. I didn't dislike this book. I think I'm at about a 3.5 stars for it. And I can see it being one that a lot of people enjoy and have fun with. I will say one of my favorite things about it is how plausible the premise felt. Like, I have no doubt that if there was magic in the world, there would be a group of magical, like, cleanup crew, basically, who would be indispensable, and yet we would not treat them very well. Like, I just know that's what would happen. So I like that aspect. But yeah, just overall, I was kind of disappointed in this book. As far as my rating the main character, I'd give this Kara probably like a 7, maybe. Maybe somewhere between a 6 and a 7, I think. Because I did like her. She just is not like my favorite type of character. Like, she's very like generically spunky, I think, and that's just not something that I find as interesting as other character types. But I did like her, and I actually I really enjoyed some things about kind of like the way her like nemesis character, what was her name? Harley, the way she was developed, I actually really liked. So there was some good stuff here. I don't want it to sound like I didn't enjoy this book at all. Like basically the story and character choices in the second half of the book didn't really do a lot for me. That was kind of my main issue, but I did still enjoy things about this. I gave Spellsweeper 3.5 stars, and I'm currently reading another book in this vlog, obviously, and that is Wish, which is the first book in the Otherworld series by Victoria Harris. Of course, our main character is named Kara. I know I don't need to say that, but I'm so used to introducing the main character that I just have to. And I'm about like 50 pages, yeah, exactly 50 pages into this one, and it's just like 221 pages or something. It's a very short book, so I may try and finish this today or between today and tomorrow. And it's also by an Irish author, which is very cool, and that makes sense because this book is very based in like Irish folklore. So our main character Kara has a younger sister named Bree, and their father disappeared very recently, like right before the start of this book. Their mother is clearly suffering from postpartum depression, even though they haven't used that phrase in the book. Like they just had a baby sibling born, and their mother's not doing very well. And then right after this happened, their father disappeared, and Kara thinks that it may have something to do, like she's starting to think that it may have something to do with these stories that she knows about like curses and like otherworld creatures and everything. And Kara is feeling very guilty about some things that happened, and so now she's afraid that if she does have some magical powers, that it's her fault that her father is missing. And then her younger sister Bree is obviously also having a hard time with this, and Bree has not spoken since this happened. So that's where I'm at right now. I am liking it so far. I like the writing, I like the premise and the magic. There's like some interesting, I'm gonna have to do some Googling about like which specific parts of this book are based on particular like stories. But yeah, I'm liking it. I like the characters so far. I'm hoping we get a lot of great like sister vibes with this one. Yeah, not a lot else to say, so I will continue reading that. As far as other plans for the day, I have a couple like work things to finish up. I want to do some kind of like reorganizing, cleaning stuff. We'll see if that happens. But yeah, I do want to focus on reading some more in Wish, and I have some other things I want to be reading as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, I should also show you guys. So I've gotten really into candles lately as just like a nice way to create some cozy vibes, calm myself down a little bit. Like obviously it's not a substitute for actual help for mental distress, but it is like a nice way to kind of brighten up my day. And I just ordered a few more, so I might show you a few of those real quick. Okay, so I got quite a few, and this is from Hopbrook Lane Candle Company. I just splurged a little on candles. I mean, I say splurged because I got, like I said, quite a few, but the price is very reasonable. These are $8. Most of them were $8 for the, I think this is the 4-ounce size. Yeah. And I just am really loving them. I've burned a few of them already. I just remembered I don't have one with me that I'm like using right now, but it's Apple Orchard and it smells like apples and it's delicious. I love it. I already know it's like one of my favorite scents from here. So yeah, I guess it's kind of funny to show you things that are like smell oriented, but I'm just excited about these and I thought it might brighten your day as well. I don't know. So one of them I have is Juicy Citrus, Mandarin, Lemon, and a hint of zest. And yeah, it just smells like really nice citrus and it's a very pretty color. Some of these are pretty self-explanatory, so I won't spend a lot of time on them. I got a lot of bookish ones, you'll see. One of them is Cinnamon Roll. The description is kind, sweet, and too good for this world. And this does smell really cinnamony, and like obviously you've got that pastry element as well. It's like pretty and glittery. Yeah, really like that one. I also got a couple of Christmas ones, even though Christmas is over, because I might still burn some of these. Like these are the kind of scents that I like all year round anyway, and or I want to be ready for like next Christmas. So yeah, I know it's funny, but I was already ordering, so I thought I should throw these in as well. This one is It's Hallmark Christmas Movie Time, Warm Gingerbread and Sweet Romance is the scent description. I like how there's always that like thematic description that's like not something you can smell. I love the design of this one though. It's like gold glitter. And I'm not like big into Hallmark, but I love the like sweet cozy vibes for Christmas. Also, you can probably see like the designs on the top of the candles are really pretty as well. This one is Flowers and Fairy Tales, which smells like rose gardens and princesses. This is another gold one, and it looks like there's like pink underneath it, so that's cool. The rose scent is definitely not as strong as I think a lot of rose scented things are, so if that's a concern, I think this might be a good one for you. But yeah, I like that. And also, obviously, a lot of these are probably going to smell even better and more complex when I actually burn them. But even just like smelling them as they are, they're great. This one I love. It's watermelon and it's Camp Half-Blood themed, which is very cool. So there's like pink and green. Really like that one. This one I think is so fun. This is Enemies to Lovers. And this one actually changes scents as you burn it. Changes scents as you burn it, I should say. It goes from cool peppermint to spicy gingerbread. So that's what the top looks like. Yeah, and it's like you can already kind of smell both of those, so I'm excited. There's like different color glitter, so I love that. As a person who loves Enemies to Lovers, I love the concept for that candle. The person who owns the store also threw in a couple of like sample tea lights, which I thought was very generous. This is for Scottish Laird and Katniss, so I haven't opened this to smell those, but I do have a few things that use tea lights, so that's like a really fun and generous thing. I have A Christmas Carol. The description for this one is mistletoe, holly, and blessings. Yeah, I love this smell. I might burn this anyway, even though Christmas is over, because I just love this kind of like fresh and kind of piney, but not like too sharp. Yeah, I really, really like that. Red and green. I feel like the candle haul is gonna be longer than the book check-in I just did, but sometimes that happens. Then I have Snowed In. The description is snowbound with eggnog and a book. And this one is definitely like sweet and like eggnog type, kind of like caramel as well, or butterscotch. I don't know, there's like a specific candy flavor it kind of reminds me of. But that one's gonna, like, I feel like this kind of scent smells especially good when you burn it, so I'm excited for that. This one is the only, I think, big candle size I got. This is 7.5 ounce. And this is the Love is Love one. So it's like rainbow and it smells like fresh and sassy citrus. And I think as you, yeah, like you can see on the side here, as you burn it, it goes through the colors of the rainbow. So I really like that. And it's like purple and glittery on top. And I just really, really like this. And it smells different enough from the other citrus one that I'm happy to have both. Yeah, really like clean and fresh smelling. Okay, and then the last thing I told you guys, they were very inexpensive, so I got quite a few candles. But the last thing I got was a 4-pack that was themed on the leading ladies of the Lunar Chronicles book series, which is one of my favorite series, and I love the main characters. So I was really excited to get these. So this one is Cinder. You can see the label design is really cool. Lemongrass, green tea, and the Prince. Yeah, this is like light and fresh. I can definitely smell both the lemongrass and the green tea, at least as far as I'm aware what those scents are supposed to smell like. Not that I'm like an expert on lemongrass or anything, but that does seem like a good description. Very pretty color. I'm just gonna go and order the books. Then we have Scarlet, French Countryside, and The Wolf. This is a red one. Ooh, yeah, I don't know how to... See, I'm not good at describing scents, so maybe this was a mistake. But this is like kind of spicy, but like low-key spicy. And also fresh, like the countryside description makes sense. That's what that looks like. And then Cress, which is my favorite book in the series, is Sweet Pear, Soft Floral, and the Captain. That's what that design looks like. Ooh, yeah, this is like fruity. I like that a lot. You can definitely smell the pear and the floral. And that's what that design looks like. So, very excited for that one. And then last we have Winter. Here's that design. And this is Apples, Bourbon, and the Guard. Yes, I think I just love apple scented things because I love this one as well. You definitely smell the apple and kind of the bourbon as well. And that's what that looks like. So that was my unplanned candle haul. Some fun bonus content in this reading vlog. Again, those are from Hopbrook Lane Candle Company. Again, I've started burning a couple of them and I really, really love them. The prices are great. I love the design. The shipping was pretty quick as well, so I will link that shop down below. This isn't like sponsored or anything. I'm just excited about these. So yeah, that didn't end on a bookish note there, but I will see you guys again probably for my next check-in, which probably will be tomorrow, the day that I'm filming this. Yeah, hopefully I'll be done with Wish by that point and I can report back. Okay, so I am wearing the same sweatshirt, but I promise it is the next day, and I have finished Wish by Victoria Harris. This is the first book in the Otherworld series, and I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars as well. I just wanted more from it. Like, there were parts I liked, but I just wanted more, like from the characters and relationships, and yeah, like it just wasn't wasn't my favorite. It was also a little bit of a letdown. I did really like our main character, Kara. I guess it'd be said Kara if she, since she's Irish, and I think that's how they would say it. So Kara and her younger sister Bree, I did really like what we saw of their relationship, and I think there was some interesting stuff about like the folklore and everything, but this just didn't do a lot for me. Like, again, I wanted more from the characters and the story in general. Also, this is like maybe a little nitpicky, but I don't know if this was like a translation, like if this is based on a word like from Irish mythology or folklore that is written in Irish and then it was translated. I'm not sure if that was the case, because otherwise I think this was an odd choice, because they talk about sparkle a lot, and like this like idea of sparkle, which is like the light that is inside you, and it's related to magic and all of that, and I like the idea a lot, but calling it sparkle just felt very cheesy to me, and I didn't like that. And they used that word quite a bit, so every time we would get there I'm like so I don't know, this just like wasn't my favorite. Again, 3.5 stars, so it was still like nice, it was fine, I had a pleasant time reading it, and it was very quick, which I appreciate, but yeah, not something I really loved. And as far as like rating the main character, I think I'd give her, like if I gave the last one like a 6.5 about, I think I'd probably give this one a 7, because I did like her, and I felt for like what she was going through and everything, but she wasn't like a favorite character, you know? I wouldn't hesitate to recommend this to people or anything, but it just wasn't quite what I was hoping for. Also, this is like something that really annoys me when they do this. So this is the American edition of this book. I assume it was also published in Ireland. And they did that thing where they changed some of the words for the American audience. And it's like, we're not stupid. Like if you would use the word like mom or ma'am, like we will know what you mean. But like they changed it to mom, which is like a very American word. So I don't know, that just always bugs me. It's like, we're not idiots. Like, well, if you just keep those words the same, like we'll understand. So that always bugs me. But yeah, this was fine. I do think I'm probably gonna start Into the Land of the Unicorns today, and that one is so short, it's like 150 pages or something. It's even shorter than this one. So maybe what I'll do is I'll just read the whole thing and I'll talk to y'all afterwards. I think that's probably what I'm gonna do. As far as like other plans for the day, I have some other books that I want to be reading, and I'm also going to try and do some like editing stuff. I did just film a video, but I'm probably going to edit some other ones, and just like, you know, general stuff like that. It is the weekend, which I have been very looking forward to. So yeah, it'll probably be like a kind of mix of chill and productive is what I'm hoping. And yeah, I guess I will talk to you guys when I'm done with Into the Land of the Unicorns. Okay guys, here for the last update. I did read the entirety of Into the Land of the Unicorns by Bruce Coville. This is the first book in the Unicorn Chronicles series, and I loved this. This was by far my favorite thing I read in this vlog. Yeah, so we're following our main character, obviously named Kara, and at the very beginning of the book, her grandmother helps her escape from somebody. Kara doesn't really know what's going on, and she ends up crossing between worlds into this other world, this fantasy world, where there are, of course, unicorns, but there are lots of other magical creatures as well. And before she crossed through, her grandmother gave Kara an amulet to keep safe. And so the rest of the book is kind of her finding out like what this amulet is, what she has to do, trying to, like, she's worried obviously about her grandmother if she's safe, and she starts learning about the way that our world, like the human world, is connected to this other world. And yeah, I really liked this. Like right from the beginning, I had a good feeling about this one. Like I really like Bruce Coville's writing. I've read a couple books in another series he does, and he's so good at getting you invested in characters right away. Like again, this is only 150 something pages, but I feel like we did a pretty good job of like really attaching to these different characters. I liked the world. I thought the story was really interesting, and I think there's actually, again, considering how short it is, there's a good amount of depth here about things like grief and trauma and loss, not in a super heavy-handed way. I liked the fantasy creatures. Like, it's funny because I feel like I'm not generally big on like magical creature fantasy stories, but I really liked these. I also have no like special attachment to unicorns as a fantasy creature, but I really liked them here. There's one in particular that Kara meets, and I really liked him. I think his name was Lightfoot. I feel like a lot of times with unicorn stories now, it's like they're either the like typical like majestic, beautiful, otherworldly creature, or it like completely subverts that, and I feel like this was kind of somewhere in the middle. I even the random side characters you meet, where at first I was like, I don't know how I feel about you, I ended up really liking them too. also something I appreciate about this book is it's not overly cutesy. Like there's a little bit of that. There's like this one like creature or character who comes along with Kara who's like a little bit like that, but overall it doesn't have that tone, which is just something that I personally prefer. And again, just a reminder that not all middle grade feels like that, and this is a good example of that fact. And yeah, just really enjoyed this. I gave Into the Land of the Unicorns 4 stars, and if I had to rate our main character Kara, as I have been doing, I think I'd give her a 9. Like I really loved her. I just really felt for what she was going through. I loved her compassion and like how she struggled sometimes to make the right decision. I liked that she was practical, that she didn't refuse help when she needed it, and I just like really liked her even in the short amount of pages we had. I just really enjoyed her. So yeah, this was my favorite of the ones that I read. Definitely excited to continue reading the series. And I originally was going to include, like I said, I was going to reread a couple of the Stravaganza books, and then also my friend Huck from Badger Reads, she reminded me that the Blackthorn and Grimm series by Juliet Merlier, the 3rd book has a main character named Kara. And I was like, oh, I forgot about that. I've been meaning to read this series forever, but I don't want this vlog to get super long. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this vlog here, and then I'm gonna do kind of like a part 2. I guess it would be more of like just a series reading vlog, where I read a few books in the Stravaganza series and maybe try and read the whole Blackthorn and Grimm trilogy, although that would probably be spread out. I don't necessarily want to marathon that series. Like, not that I'm thinking I won't enjoy it, but I just don't know that that's a series I'd want to read back to back necessarily. So anyway, that's kind of the plan here. I thought I would do a quick recap of the books that we read, and the way it turned out, I actually read them in order from least favorite to most favorite. So here's my quick little recap section. First was Olivia by Dorothy Strachey, which was our Past It Classics pick. This is the only one where the main character was not named Kara. She was like a supporting character, and she was like important to the plot, and like some of the story, but she definitely wasn't like the protagonist. The protagonist was named Olivia, and I gave this one a 3. It was a pretty generous 3 stars, honestly. I was kind of disappointed, or like very disappointed really, in this one. I liked the writing well enough, I think, especially in such a short book. Like, it was a very small dose of this writing, and I liked some of the ideas about love and beauty and art and like personhood and identity, like finding yourself. Like, I liked that, but I was disappointed in a lot of other stuff, especially the characters. They all felt very flat, and I don't feel like we got to know them very well, which is especially weird and disappointing considering, like, for the main character, considering that it's such an internal book, and yet I don't feel like we got to know her very well. And another big issue I had was the treatment of the romantic relationship in this book. Like, I think there are ways it could have been done where like, you wouldn't have to have it happen a certain way in order to not romanticize it, if that makes sense. And this book did not take any of those options. So I really didn't like that. So that was my least favorite. I gave that Kara a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10, by the way, in terms of how much I liked her character. Just because, like, I was pretty neutral about her. She wasn't really in it enough, but I did feel for her. And she, like I said, was not the teacher who was involved with the student. So the bar was on the ground. Then the next one I read was Spellsweeper by Lee Edward Fody. This one I'm giving somewhere between a 3 and a 3.5 stars. I just was expecting to like this more. I do like the concept. Like, I love the idea of like having magical cleanup crews and how important they are. I liked seeing our main character, Kara, seeing her kind of growth and realization that she is important. I thought some of the ways that her nemesis character was developed was really interesting, but what this one really came down to, besides like some of the overly cute naming sometimes, like one of the big issues I had was just the direction it took in the second half. I didn't find it interesting. I didn't like it. I think that, like, I think it was partly just like personal taste as far as what plot lines I would find interesting, but there was another piece of it that I think actually the story would have been stronger and more interesting and more complex if things hadn't gone a certain way. But I did like some of it. Again, I liked some of the characters. The concept is great, but yeah, so somewhere between 3 and 3.5 stars, probably closer to 3.5. I did genuinely enjoy quite a few things about it. Next, I read Wish by Victoria Harris. This is the first book in the Otherworld series. And this one, I also gave 3.5 stars. Oh, I forgot to mention, I think I rated the main character, would I call this like the Kara scale? I don't know. I think I rated her like maybe a 6.5. I liked her. She's just like a particular type of character that I don't often find like my favorite, but I did like her. And then, like I said, I read Wish, which was the first book in the Otherworld series. This is by Victoria Harris. And it's funny, and I gave this the same rating. I gave this a 3.5 stars as well. In some ways, I like this one better than Spellsweeper. In others, I don't. I just wanted more from this book. I don't even necessarily mean that it had to be longer, because like Into the Land of the Unicorns is even shorter, and I really liked that one. I just wanted more from the characters, and some of the folklore aspects. Before I do my wrap up, I'll have to do some research about which parts are based on specific stories from Irish folklore, but like some of that I found really interesting, but then like some of the, I don't know, like just the way everything came together, I felt like was a little lackluster. Again, I think the characterization could have been better. I did like Kara and her younger sister Bree's relationship. What we saw of that I really liked. And then a pet peeve I had is that like the overuse of the word sparkle to describe like somebody's inner light or like inner magic. And I love the concept of that, so that's not the issue. I just think calling it sparkle made it feel very like cheesy and childish in a way that it didn't need to. And then I think this main character, I believe I gave her maybe a 7.5. I did genuinely really like her. Oh, and also I don't remember if I mentioned this, but I did like the way one of the reveals happened. It was something I wasn't surprised at, but I liked the way it was done, which is actually pretty often the case. I don't necessarily have to be like completely shocked by something in a book to think it's done well. And then obviously my favorite, and the one I just finished, was Into the Land of the Unicorns by Bruce Coville. I just reviewed this one, so I won't recap it here, but this is definitely my favorite thing I read in this vlog. It has me very excited to continue the series. I just think this is a really great middle grade fantasy, definitely one I would recommend. And I just really like the different directions it went in, and how it really, it plays against type, I think, or it plays against what you might assume, especially if you haven't read as much middle grade fantasy, what you might assume a middle grade book about unicorns would be. And this was my favorite main character as well. I gave her a 9. So that was my very, very silly reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed this. I thought it would just be fun. I don't know, I just thought it'd be a fun like theme to do, and several of these books are ones that I just recently purchased or that I needed to read for something else. Like Olivia I had to read obviously for our live show, and then Spellsweeper and The Wish are recent purchases that I wanted to kind of get on, and then Into the Land of the Unicorns is one I've had for a while, so I'm glad to have finally gotten to it. Anyway, let me know if you're interested in picking up any of these. Even the ones that I gave like lower ratings to, I don't think these are like bad books necessarily. I just think they weren't quite what I was wanting or what I was hoping they could be, except for Into the Land of the Unicorns. Really enjoyed that one. So yeah, comment, let me know if you've read these or if you're planning to. If you also have a really difficult name to find in literature, let's like talk about that in the comments. We can commiserate with each other. Yeah, like this is not going to be a recurring series on my channel because I don't anticipate finding many more Karas who are main characters, but I thought this would be fun. And keep an eye out for a series reading vlog that I'm going to do, kind of like, I guess, a loose part 2 to this one, because I am going to be reading some of the other books I talked about, but I just didn't want this to be too long. So if you enjoyed this, there is more to come. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you soon with another video, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye!